Hey, it's the new year and I thought we'd have some fun today. We're going to make cupcake chicken, or some people call it muffin pan chicken, competition chicken. In the recipe today, we're going to follow the process that's very similar to what some of these competition teams do. It's a fun way to cook and you get this delicious, tasty chicken with awesome texture. We've got 4 chicken thighs here, okay? Now I try to do my videos for your typical backyard person. In a real competition, you see this knuckle here? These guys will come in here, cut this knuckle off, and then they'll come in here and you can do the same thing, by the way. They'll remove the skin, not all the way, just kind of peel it all the way back off this chicken thigh. Okay. And they'll come in here and they'll scrape the excess fat off these chicken thighs. And you see this fat here? They'll come in here and they'll trim this fat off here. You guys do that if that's what you want to do. Okay? Now I'll just show you what I do. I come in here. All right, I want to make sure my chicken's nice and covered, and we do have some extra skin here. So I will cut this extra skin off, all right? And some folks will come in here and trim up the ends to make them look all nice and square. If that's what you want to do, do that. You can spend quite a bit of time prepping this chicken. All I'm going to do is cut this extra skin off each one of these guys. Okay, and then I'll show you how we're going to work this whole muffin pan deal. Okay, there's that one. Like I say, you can cut this extra fat off here if you want. You can go get a knife, help yourself. At least for me in my backyard, none of my neighbors really care about that kind of stuff, and my friends. All right, what I got here is a muffin pan. All right, now, or cornbread pan, whatever you want to call it. There's 1, 2. I'm going to put at least 2 in each one of these guys. And actually, I may come in here. I think I'm going to add a 3rd one, just looking at it. This is just chicken broth. You got a fancy concoction you want to make? Go right ahead. That's part of the fun of barbecuing in your backyard, right? I've read some folks will include some soy sauce, their secret ingredients, what have you. Okay, so there's 3 tablespoons in each one of those, okay? Now what I've got here is roughly a tablespoon of butter for each one of those guys, all right? And now I'm going to come back in here with my chicken, kind of roll it up if you will, and sit it right on top. Just going to get each of these pieces of chicken in here, okay? And you can see my pan is a little bit big. If you watch some of these other videos, they'll have it in a real small muffin pan. Go right ahead if that's what you want to do. Now, I've got 5 chicken thighs here, and this is the only muffin pan I have. Okay, so what I'm going to try to do, I'm sorry, I have 4. I started to say I was going to have to double up, but we're in good shape here. Okay. Now the real point of this recipe is cooking it in the broth, in the butter. Like I say, you want to trim it and look, you know, competition, go ahead, man, have some fun with it, right? It's your backyard. But what you're really after here with this kind of cooking is this butter, you know, cooking it in the butter and the chicken broth. Now you want to hit it up with your favorite rub. I'm using this Lambert's Championship Sweet Rub of mine. If you want to know more about this rub, I'll put a link in the description box and an iCard here in the video. Okay. Just going to season it up. And again, if you want, you can lift that skin up and season the chicken before you, and then season the top of the skin as well. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Now you can see our liquid here. I hope you can see. It's about a third of the way up. On this one, it's about half the way. You don't want to go any more than half. Okay. Get them on our Pit Boss here. And you can see I've got this Pit Boss set on 300. It's right at 290, 295. You want to run this somewhere between 275 and 300. We'll check back in 50 minutes to an hour. All right, we're approaching the hour mark, so I want to get my sauce ready. What I'm doing today is I'm using this Lambert sweet sauce of mine. No, Lambert's didn't pay me anything to do this video. I got a little Pam here. You don't need this for the recipe. I just like to spray this measuring cup. It helps my honey come out. We are going to use honey. I've got 1 cup of this Lambert sweet sauce of mine, barbecue sauce in here. And I'm going to match that with 1 cup of honey. Alrighty. See, that just kind of helps that honey come out of that cup, and I'll still scrape the rest out. Oh yeah. Now you just want to mix this barbecue sauce and honey real well. You don't need to heat it. You can heat it if you want, but I usually don't. You can see it's nice and thin. That's exactly what you want, because we're going to dip these chicken thighs in it. All right, it's been an hour and a half total. Let's get this chicken off here. Look at that. It's got a nice color on the top. All right, so now what we want to do is get this chicken out very gingerly. Okay, now you want to discard this butter. Don't use it for anything. Okay, and all I'm going to do is dip each piece of chicken in that sauce. Okay, all right, just let it drip off any extra. You want to make sure you get it good and covered, but it doesn't need to be like real, it doesn't need to be real thick on it. It's easy for me to say. Easy for me to say. Okay, and I'm just putting them on this plate so I can get them all done. You know, get them all dipped. Okay. We're going to get them back on the Pit Boss here in just 1 second. And like I say, just discard that butter and chicken broth mixture. Okay, now let's get these back on the Pit Boss. All right, set them right down here. Color on these guys is looking great. Got 1 more there. Okay. Now I'm going to come back in with that sweet rub of mine and hit the tops of these up just a little bit, again, on top of that barbecue sauce. Same rub we used earlier. Let me get this one up here where I can get to it. Okay, we're going to close this lid, let this go 20, 30 more minutes. All right, these chicken thighs have been resting here about 15, 18 minutes, I would say. Cool to the touch. People made fun of me last year for cutting my chicken, right? So, you know, to appease them, I thought I would do this a little different today. Mm. Mm. Oh man, chicken is fantastic. The inside of it still moist. The skin's got a bit of a bite to it. If you wanted even more bite, I think you could have cranked that grill up in the last part. Let me just show you. There's our skin. Can you see that? It's not totally crispy. It's got a great flavor. Like I say, I think you could have turned that grill up in the last little bit. Well, I'm sorry, that was kind of rude. Now you can see why I always use a fork. Hey, so you know that Lambert's rub gave us some color. Use your own favorite barbecue rub, right? Obviously, it added some flavor, but it's primarily there for the color. And then that honey and that barbecue sauce gave us that sweetness. What a great way to do chicken at your next backyard barbecue. Hey, if you're not a subscriber already, I hope you hit the subscribe button. Leave us a comment below, right? We really like to know what you think.